1990, my dad and I set out on a dream. We were to see all 30 major league ballparks. This was long before it became the commercially popular idea it is today. It would take years as we were both very busy. But we had time, plenty of time. After just 2 short trips and only 7 stadiums, life beckoned. Work, money, retirement, adventure. We answered those calls and put the dream on hold. In July of 2001, my dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Time, once so liquid and abundant, seemed to speed up. This was ironic as much in Dad's life seemed to slow down. The strength I so admired in him as a child has begun to fade. His speech sometimes slurs. He tires more quickly and often wears a frozen, faraway look on his face. The dad I knew growing up was funny, athletic, and sharp. The disease has already stolen a few pieces from him, and that's something he struggles with. I want what every son wants from his dad, more time, but no one gets that. We do, however, have the opportunity to make the most out of what we've been given. On June 18th, 2004, we set out on a 2-month, 20,000-mile road trip to see them all with less than 20% of the budget I thought we'd need. This is our story.
I would say right now I'm overwhelmed. If you'd have seen the scene trying to set up this simple shot a moment ago, you'd really understand that.
God. And we're fading.
Yeah,
like
I know.
My hope is that you're able to clear your mind and clear your path so that you can enjoy the process.
Are we all the way ready? No. Do we have all the money we need? No. But it's time.
My one real concern is that he's got an awful lot to do and coordinate, and that's not too big a burden.
People are waiting for us, and it's time to have faith, and it's time to trust that what we're doing is going to work.
Hopefully, this would be for the common good. I mean, the idea is to try to develop awareness among the population for Parkinson's. We got a lot of people supporting us. So both people that we know and people that we don't know yet. I guess we know them all. We haven't met them yet. That's the right term, isn't it? Faith means I believe that I have what it takes to get the job done. And I think that whatever we need will be provided one way or another. We're jumping. We have jumped. So I may not be the same person when this is over as I am when I started. We'll see.
We don't have enough money for the whole trip right now. It's a real possibility we could get way out and run out of dough. We have a plan to tailgate before every game that allows it, receiving discounted food and donated drinks and tickets. We then sell the tailgate party and the game back to those who want to join us for 25 bucks a head. Obviously the goal isn't to get rich, but hopefully we'll make just enough to get us to the next park.
Early this year I was watching Field of Dreams, rewatching it, and I got real teary and choked up when I saw that Kevin Costner's character didn't get to do the things he wanted to do with his dad. And I said, I'm not going to let that happen with me and my dad.
Well, I think one of the first things people associate is shaky hands or a tremor. I think that 75% of people with Parkinson's disease will have some degree of tremor. And I've certainly had people, some of my patients, who driving and pulled over, maybe they're swerving just a little bit and pulled over to the side of the road. And we actually give people cards that say, I am not intoxicated, I have Parkinson's disease, and they carry that in their wallets. When you start to move, there's a signal that goes from the brain to the muscles. Normally that happens very rapidly within 10 or 20 milliseconds. I mean, very, very rapid transmission of that nerve impulse. With Parkinson's disease, that impulse is slowed such that it takes longer. So you think about doing something, but by the time it reaches the muscles, it's slowed down. Things like handwriting, speech, walking, those things that require a coordinated muscle activity, those are the things that are preferentially affected by Parkinson's disease. The primary hallmark of Parkinson's disease is loss of dopamine neurons in a particular area of the brain called the substantia nigra. And then the substantia nigra, then the dopamine neurons then project to the front parts of the brain where movement is initiated. Think of almost dopamine as being sort of energy for the motor system. So loss of that dopamine basically reduces that sort of jump start, the battery, if you will, for the motor system.
What do you tell Parkinson's patients who just tell you they're scared?
It's okay. It's okay to be scared. A good physician they should be part of the therapy. They should be part of the hope and encouragement that you're going to do well. That should be part of your treatment regimen, if you will.
Thank you so
So
much.
good luck to you.
Thank you.
So the quote here says, "A sundial is a living object. It needs no winding and is driven by no weight. It has something to say and it says it. It speaks about time, never ceasing to recall the flight of time, its tragedy and irreversibility for men. Thoughts arise of earth, of the end of everything, of eternity, of the world beyond." What do you think about that?
It's an awful lot. It's a mouthful. Must be a poet. Who's that?
Yeah, Roar. It's like Renee R.J. Roar.
Makes you feel a little bit small, less self-centered.
I missed it every time I went by.
Perspective.
Yeah.
How do you feel about time? For you?
A lot of it's gone by.
Yeah.
I feel like it's. I was telling Ron the other day, sometimes it feels like a slippery slope.
Yeah.
A sense of urgency. It's part of the reason for this trip, right?
Yeah. Over the next 2 months, we'll be averaging 375 miles on the road every day. One thing we can't afford on this trip is a rainout. We don't have time for it. Mom gave me a 2-month lease on Dad and that's it. We'll be scrambling just to get from park to park. If it rains on game day, we're sunk. The good thing is, Dad's got a bit of Irish luck in him. Have you thought a lot about how that luck has affected your life?
Sure, yeah, I've thought about it. That's why I thought I would never get sick. One of the reasons. I've always been lucky. In the big picture, it's, you know, they say that Parkinson's is a degenerative disease. Well, so is life. You can't get out of it. So it just speeds things up a little bit, maybe not. Actually, it's slowing things down a little bit. We have to just keep reminding ourselves how lucky we are to be doing this.
Yeah.
You see that in everybody's face that we tell what we're doing. I mean, first it's disbelief, and then it's I wish I could do something like that.
We've got angels all over the place,
Yeah.
you know, making this possible. We are about
50 miles, 45 miles.
outside north of San Antonio.
Yeah.
And
on the way to San Antonio. We do the Alamo tomorrow, and we visit the basement.
oh, I've been looking for my bike for literally years, and I'd like to have it back.
I'm sure it's there.
Even though our scheduled game wasn't until the following night, the Astros rolled out the red carpet and gave us a behind-the-scenes tour of Minute Maid Park. All right, live from Enron Field. Whoops! Minute Maid Park, Boys of Summer, coming to you live. What do you think, Dad?
I think it's a great place. This looks very much like the Bob, actually.
Doesn't look anything like me. This is the punishment for that.
Actually, the first Astros game I went to. I'm okay.
And that's the Boys of Summer documentary for you. We are now officially wrapped. I'll be going off in handcuffs soon. Thank you for your time, Jennifer. I'm very sorry. Thank you. We're talking about there's a little spot right there.
I'm just glad it took a bounce before it hit my head.
Here we go.
So here we are actually on the field here at Minute Maid Park. It's an unbelievable feeling stepping on the same dirt that all the players do, being part of the game in such an organic way. And yeah, my heart's going pretty good. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
You know, my dad always was my coach growing up.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was always there. They're always supporting me. And, you know, if it wouldn't have been for them, man, there would have been no way I'd have done, you know, be where I'm at. That's for sure. And, you know, he's still you know, staying up to 12 or 1 o'clock watching the game, especially when I was on the West Coast, man, it eats him up that he's got to stay up to 1 o'clock and get up at 5 to go to work. But you know, he's always been there, you know, and that's what's been nice about it.
I remember catching a grounder in the forehead. That bounce. That kind of shortened my baseball career.
Yeah.
You're very
Thank
much.
you so much for everything.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Had a great time.
Pleasure having you guys. Enjoy the rest of the game.
The Houston Astros, even before the game, I can say get an A+.
So what do you know about these guys?
I found him online, Dad. A gentleman named Rudy Rabel, completely unknown to us, found our website before our trip began and offered to let us stay at his place in Houston.
Stay with them for 2 days. Like you say, as long as they don't think we're the pizza guys.
How old is all the guys Ernie?
It's Rudy. Hi.
How are you?
Hi, I'm Robert.
Rudy.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, this is my dad, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Well, as long as they're not serial killers.
Oh, hey, how you doing? I'm Robert.
Steven, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. This is my dad, Dan.
I was hoping you guys were trustworthy.
My expectations were for older people.
All right, yeah, we got a couple bedrooms. We got one right here and 2 of them upstairs.
And this is quite honestly maybe the most beautiful house I've ever set foot in.
Okay, we'll just grab our stuff. We'll be back.
Good, sounds good.
Okay.
You need help or?
No, it's just a little bit of stuff.
What do you think they did with their parents? I don't know what to think. I mean, it's an unbelievable place, but
Yeah. Well,
what happens when the parents come home?
I saw the A's hats on the website and it kind of made you family, and you gotta trust family.
So tonight's the big game. I'm pumped. Our pregame party is set right across the street from Minute Maid.
50 tickets for the Rocket. God, I hope people show up. Let's go.
I'm willing to do whatever it takes to raise awareness. Unfortunately, it didn't work.
But right now, we've got 4 people.
So I try to get my hustle on. Too bad scalping is highly illegal all around Minute Maid.
We're about 20-25 minutes away from game time right now, and obviously we've got way too many tickets. We may take a bath financially, but you know what? I've done my part. I've done the right thing. I've acted my highest good, and I do have faith that something's good is going to come out of this. So that's it.
I would hope that more than anything else, you would come into contact with a lot of people that you can touch their lives and they can touch your lives, and that you can learn a lot through this trip, and that you and your dad can, you know, spend a lot of time together, and meaningful experience that you'll both remember for the rest of your lives.
If the rest of our trip is anything like what it's been so far, it's beyond my expectations.
Every day I wake up with the phone attached to my ear, and sometimes I can even get a signal.
I got full bars and I got no connection.
The coordination necessary to make this trip go is mind-boggling. The teams, the tickets, the food and drink, the Parkinson agencies, the Parkinsonians, the media, the marketing, the near misses and the home runs. They're part of every single day, not to mention trying to explain who we are and what we're doing. Some days I'm hopeful.
I know I'm an optimist, but this is a great story. I'm saying it right here, I'm calling the shot. We're gonna make a ton of money for Parkinson.
Some days
We're on a hold.
Sorry, I got a plane overhead. I said, please don't transfer me. You put me on hold.
Can you hear me any better now?
Unbelievable.
No?
Well, we got clouds, but we're hoping we got a game.
Well, that's right. We don't have a cover tonight.
No cover tonight.
This definitely looks ominous. I just saw some more lightning.
But we know the weather moves pretty fast here, too.
That's true.
Now, Sis says the weather should blow over. This is Texas, and fingers crossed.
Pardon me?
Fingers crossed in your face.
Oh, yeah.
All right, what's your name? Evan. Do you know why we're here today? Well, what's going on with your grandfather?
He has Parkinson's.
He has Parkinson. You know, my dad has Parkinson's disease too. Deal?
Do you hear that music?
I do hear the music.
I think it's time to go.
That means it's time to play ball, I think.
Play ball.
now you've grown into a man, and I don't understand how this could be.
We got a great moment in here tonight where another friend of ours was playing guitar, and he played a father and son song.
Yeah, Mitch played a beautiful song, and it is very appropriate.
Yeah, and the moment when Dad just kind of, reached over and gave me that little reassuring tap, and that meant an awful lot to me.
Yeah, me too.
How proud I am to be calling you my son.
My sis just happens to be a rock star at a place called Pete's Piano Bar in Addison. This is something I find very cool. Now, if you're anywhere near Dallas, you ought to go find out for yourself. The good folk of Pete's welcomed us with open arms, a very kind donation, and tons of love and support. And once again, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to raise awareness.
What do you think of the degeneration that Dad's gone through with Parkinson?
Breaks my heart. Absolutely breaks my heart.
I know that I'm slower. I know that my speech is not quite as clear as it once was.
It was a reality that I don't think he had moved into, and it was hard to see him move into it.
And I think that's why it's hard to be separated from him, because there'll be more and more degeneration.
We were out last night and people were dancing, and I can't dance anymore. I can't, that's a part of life that's gone.
You think of Dad as a good dancer?
Oh yeah. Yeah, just twisting around and twisting with Mom, doing the gator. Yeah, always just wild.
He said, I'm so glad that we didn't miss too many rock and roll dances in our lifetime.
I'm thankful for that. We did a lot of dancing.
We may be doing chair dancing for a while, but that's okay.
You're gonna give Dad lap dances?
Yeah. That would be his dream.
Dad, you saw Elvis in what year, 74?
74 in Seattle, yeah.
And that was the show you told me was the only time you felt like maybe you would rush the stage.
There's a lot of magnetism.
I feel kind of inspired at this moment, like maybe, I don't know, like we should sing a tribute or something to Elvis. I mean, we're here.
That could be a bad thing,
Well, since my baby left. What key are you going?
Well,
hold on. That C? C?
I don't know.
Okay.
See you later. Well, now
since my... Don't do raga. Don't do raga. It's terrible. Since my baby left me.
Wait, whoa. That's bullshit.
Another thing we're doing to keep things on the cheap is camp everywhere we can. This provides for interesting situations in the South with the weather.
Because, the tunnel's this dark, enclosed place, and it's very much enclosed, and that's some serious thunder.
And my mortal fear of alligators.
What'd you hear in the woods?
Well, we're too far south for a Sasquatch, so it sounded like it was big and furry and coming at me. But boy, there's another noise back there. Furry couldn't have been nicer. He gave us these yellow bands, and that gives us free food and drink as long as we were there, as long as we can stand up.
I could spend a lot of time at Ferg's.
And then went over to Tropicana Field and found out, well, I guess we knew we had press passes, but we didn't know what it meant to have press passes. And essentially it meant that we could go anywhere we wanted to.
This is the new turf. Tastes like the old turf. Like chicken.
We got to see all parts of Tropicana Field.
How'd you feel walking in the dugout?
Well, much the same as I felt like I shouldn't be there for an unarranged and unannounced interview. I thought he was quite gracious.
Yeah, this is my dad. He has Parkinson's.
How you doing, sir? Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
It was great. It was just one of those things that fell into place, a faith-based kind of thing, and those things do keep popping up for us.
Miami brought us back outdoors, back to the sunshine, tailgating, and parking lot heroics, bordering on Herculean levels. And back to gigantic fish and bikini-clad women riding around a baseball field in a boat. Baseball Miami style. We had a long drive up to our next stop, Atlanta, about 675 miles. This gave me the opportunity to ask my dad a simple question that I hadn't yet.
What is it having Parkinson like for you in terms of you having got it?
It's just bad luck. Chance. One of those genes tripped the wrong way.
So then does it become more important perhaps to focus on what you'll do with it rather than how you got it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'd like for other people to avoid it if it's possible. And the answer to that will come somewhere down the road. Down this road, maybe.
What I'm seeing is that there is a fall off in some of his energy, probably because of the Parkinson, that a piece of him is going away. I get scared too sometimes that maybe I'm pushing too hard on this trip, and God, I want to be sure that Dad's okay, that I'm not doing anything to further the process or the pain. You know, I find myself sometimes following my dad and putting an arm out as he's walking because I'm afraid he's going to stumble or fall, and it's such a weird feeling. It certainly makes me question myself, and it makes me question the future for him. We meet up with some old friends of mine who drove down from Charlotte, and the Braves sport us a terrific lunch at the Chop House, and some choice seats just under the cover, which was nice because the rain drums were pounding.
This is our first rain delay right about now. We're in the 7th inning. It is dumping. This is the dirty South. And the Braves are playing some dirty ball right about now. I'm impressed with the crew. The short shorts are questionable.
I'll be honest with you, it's funny. Probably all the, living 2,500 miles away from my dad, 3,000 miles away, and literally talking to him probably once every week, once every 2 weeks. Every single time, it's something about the Giants.
I think there's a connection. I think it's just something that it's not conscious, it's not planned. It's, I think back to my dad and baseball. The relationship was a lot different because my dad was not a baseball fan. He was came over from Bulgaria to this country, and he was actually a semi-pro soccer player in Chicago in the 1920s. And he didn't like baseball, but he knew I loved it, so he took me to games, and that was really cool.
He was always very knowledgeable of the game. Pushed me into Little League, and it's one of those experiences where you go and it teaches you a little something every time.
Well, it's such a good. It is that that father-son. It's such a bonding. It's timeless.
Here's what an intentional walk is. Here's what keeping score in the scorebook. All of that, which is always a good father-son thing to do at an early age.
None of my 3 boys really liked baseball all that much. But the one who really loved it was Anna, and she played hardball. Yeah, she was a catcher in the boys' league, and that was really and that was exciting. Because you don't figure a girl is going to be the baseball player.
Jeff Shinholt is 42 years old, has 5 beautiful children, a loving wife, and Parkinson's disease. He runs marathon as part of the Movers and Shakers group in Baltimore to raise funds and awareness for Parkinson. Last year, they raised $170,000 for the National Parkinson Foundation.
How has Parkinson affected your being a father?
It's caused me to think a little bit more about the long-term effects of Parkinson's. But right now, I'm just living day to day, living out my life with my kids, playing baseball and going to baseball games, and just having a good time living. Again, you don't just sit here and count the days as they go by. You make every day count.
Looking at Jeff and my dad, I began to get more of a feeling about what Parkinson was and how far it reached. Jeff's a young, healthy guy. and he has Parkinson. When this trip began, I didn't know much about the disease. Every day, I learn a little more.
What's special about going to the ball game with your dad?
Well, good memories you can always look back on when you're his age. Taking your kids to the game probably would. I don't know, something special.
What do you think about being your age?
My age? Well, what? Could you say that again?
The home team lost.
You had Parkinson's?
20 years.
20 years.
20 years I've been diagnosed. I probably
20 years diagnosed.
Before that.
And what's it been like for you? I mean,
you feel trapped in a body that you don't know how to get out of. You feel like you want to do something and you can't do it. Some normal little thing during the day can be very frustrating. It's could be a lot worse. There's a lot worse things that had in Parkinson's too. I loved to play when I was young.
Yeah? What'd you play? What position?
I played second base. My last play in high school was against a fellow named Ernie Calabala from the Ivory Coast. He was pitching for Westtown against Malvern, who I played for. And I hit the first pitch in the center field for a base hit, and that was the only time I think we touched him all day.
I was diagnosed April 1999. I had been suffering from symptoms for a while, so there was a sense of relief now that we knew what it was. But the more we learned about the disease and more of the what-ifs, the more we were anxious about all of that.
I read this book called My Mommy Has PD, But It's Okay. And in the book, the girl was selling lemonade for 5 cents to raise money for Parkinson's disease. So I wanted to do something.
He thought he'd be doing well if he could raise $50. To date, he has raised over $15,000. Hey.
Citizen Bank did a good thing and kept the fanatic, and they've even added a few characters.
My monkey's name is Dr. Phil. He's from Tasmania, that little island off the coast of Australia. And a lot of things in Tasmania are inbred, and so that's why he's balding already, you know? Look out, he just saw the camera and he's gotta fix himself up. He's such a girl.
Phil, do you like the Mets?
No.
The rain delay held the game back by about an hour, but if you think a little rain's going to stop a game in Philly,
Let's go, Philly! Let's go, Philly!
Yo, you're out of here. Go.
Mets and Yankees are the two worst. Okay. And it's when either team's getting blown out. When the Phillies are getting blown out, there's problems. When the Phillies are vice versa, either team getting blown out.
All right. We're outside Yankee Stadium. Mom and Anna Maria are going to join us. First time we've seen them in 10 days?
No, has it been that long, really? I don't think so. What's today? Today's the 8th?
Yeah. When did we say goodbye to them? It was about the 28th, wasn't it? Because we had the 29th, 30th?
Boy, it's gone by fast.
Yeah. Don't tell that to Mom. It's gone by really slow and painful. Dad's been crying every night. Hard to sleep next to me. He's been trying to cuddle with me.
Anyway, that's another story.
Yankee freaking Stadium. Classic. Legendary. Wow. Now, Yankee is also the only park that does not allow video cameras inside, but they let us take a peek before the game. This is where the ghosts are said to hang out and cast their spells.
I don't remember exactly what game it was, but it was a big postseason win for the Yankees, probably a come from behind, one of the magical wins that they have in the playoffs. And the question was asked, what do you think about this? How does it keep on happening? And he said, you wait around long enough in these postseason circumstances and the ghosts come out of Yankee Stadium.
As complex as Parkinson's is, it's still the neurological disorder that we know the most about. It has the best models for scientists to work in, and so this is a distinct advantage. And given that, that means that the path towards making progress is probably clearer, and as we learn things in Parkinson's, they can be readily applied to the areas neurodegeneration that we don't know as much about. And so in that sense, it is kind of, what we call a wedge disease. Some things we learn in Parkinson's could be applicable in non-brain related areas, such as spinal cord injury or juvenile diabetes. And our particular interest is to make sure that we get money to the most promising, high impact projects as quickly as possible all around the world. I've probably been to maybe 19 ballparks myself, so I'm no slouch on the ballpark tour.
What's the greatest park there?
Oh, you know what? Well, I still think I'm kind of partial to Fenway. Yeah.
What makes Fenway special to you?
I don't know, just it's a good spirit and it's easy to get to. When you live in Boston, you can just hop on the subway. It was fun.
Right there.
Holy shit! The best peanuts in town. We've been here for 96 seasons.
96 seasons?
96, 3 generations.
And how much have the prices moved up in 96 seasons?
Well, I don't know. I think they were 2 cents a bag back in the old days. I've been coming down here since I was a laddie.
Your dad or your grandpa brought you?
Father brought me, yeah.
What was that like for you, first game with your pops?
First game, I kind of remember my mother was here too. I kind of got this way. He didn't really want me here, to be honest with you.
215 miles separate Yankee and Fenway, and yet they're always just an insult apart.
Yankees suck.
Yankees suck is what I'd say right in his face.
The Red Sox are an absolute dynasty. They're the greatest team in the history of all sports, with the greatest history, the greatest players, and the greatest moments in sports history in the last 100 years. Easy.
Last year, when a Yankee fan came with the Red Sox junk shirt on up the stands and the bleachers, about 18 beers flew on his face within about 5 seconds. So he deserved every one of them, maybe more.
What qualifies as a dynasty? Winning championships, does that qualify as a dynasty? Or just being competitive, creating great games, great athletes, and great history? And then it's more than just the titles, it's more than just the rings and the banners you can hang up. It's the experience, it's the players, what goes on in the field. And here at Fenway Park, it's unmatched.
It's like the t-shirt you see when you walk out of the stands. Any team can have a bad century.
But to focus on the rivalry alone would be to miss the park that charmed my father and I more than any of the others. You step out of the modern day and into a place where time seems to stand still. Fenway Park looks, feels, sounds, smells, and yes, even tastes like baseball. Fenway reminds us that you cannot buy or build history. It must be earned through time.
Are the Sox going to break the curse this year?
There is no curse.
There's no curse?
No.
Are you aware of the curse?
I'm aware of the curse, yes.
How do you feel about it?
Is that camera rolling?
Have you guys been told about who Babe Ruth is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now how do you feel about what people call the curse?
I never heard of that. I can't.
That's good, that's good.
I don't think he knows about the curse. We're going to keep it that way.
You guys big Red Sox fans?
Yes, sir.
All right. Polite, too. You guys enjoy the game tonight, all right? All right.
I can tell you what happened at every game I went to when I sat next to my dad. I mean, not with the players. I wouldn't even be able to tell you an opponent. But I can remember what we talked about. And I can remember sitting there and thinking, this will never happen again. You know, what I have right now. So that's why this place is so good.
I've always been very proud of her.
Whoa!
And generally, it's nice to do something with an offspring, as you know. Something they like to do.
Well, there you go.
And we do a lot of one-on-ones. You know, I've taken a lot of trips with. I've got 3 children and taken a lot of trips with them. And those are the best times. One-on-one, get to talk to them, and they get to understand you a little bit better.
Tell us why baseball is important to fathers and sons in your experience.
Well, because there is so much history, and it's, traditional. It's also a game that, because it doesn't have a clock, it's a conversational game. It's every day, so you're living out a life. Each season is a life in itself. A baseball game is an event. the way a football game is. A baseball game is just another day of an experience. It's wonderful the way the way that sort of history does entwine. You know, those people who love Juan Marichal now love Pedro Martinez. And fathers and sons, be they here in the United States or in the Dominican Republic, understand that.
My favorite baseball story is last year I was at a game, bottom of 12th, Noma hits a home run over the Green Monster to win the game. Just had to pee so bad for drinking beers. That's my favorite story.
Oh, I've been a fan since 1966. I was just telling this young lady right here that I wish my father was here. My brother got me this seat here for my birthday. It's great. Go Sox!
Phenomenal!
Come here, give me a kiss!
The Paysants are longtime friends and proud Canadians. Doug is one of my dad's dearest friends and a man he truly lets his guard down around.
Oh, you guys! Come on, let's get in and get a drink. Come on, let's get in and get a drink.
He doesn't want to be people to be sad for him. He just wants to be there. He wants to be Dan, proud Dan. And proud Dan, I had him working so hard when he came up here. But guess what? I couldn't have done anything without him. And that's proud Dan. We had a baseball team in Toronto known as the Blue Jays. The best damn team in baseball, and they were 2 years in a row. And guess what happened? After we won 2 World Series, we disbanded that very team. We've been the Blue Jays ever since.
Yeah, well, sports is obviously the ultimate communicator between fathers and sons. Most men don't communicate, don't express feelings, but with sports they feel more open. With sports they just feel like they can express themselves better.
Arr, Billy, have you ever been buggered? He says, no, but I've been blown ashore a couple times.
The All-Star Game gave us a much-needed break. 11 games in, comfortably with friends, that's the good stuff. But the second half has me a little bit worried. Where we're going to get tickets for each of the games, the tailgate parties, and all the coordination efforts, and most of all, where's the money coming from? We'll figure it out. I hope.
Love you.
Our first game back from the All-Star break was set to be a good one. Yanks versus Tigers. We've got a bunch of pizza thanks to our friends at Domino's, and we're at Bell Island Park, where we're supposed to meet up with the local Parkinson group. Unfortunately, no dice, no people, all this food.
Just somewhere on the communication lines, things are breaking down.
The pizza's good.
Let's go, Tigers!
John Trudeau has been diagnosed with Parkinson for approximately 15 years. He also has diabetes and lymphedema. When he heard about our trip, sight unseen, he invited us to spend the night at his house just outside Detroit.
Do you have any kind of awareness as to how it came about?
No, as far as I know, it's just pure chance, act of God, whatever. So if you want to get mad at him, you can, but it's not going to change anything. So I found John Q. Public to be very unlike the common perception of people are out for themselves and don't tell about others. I found John Q. Public to be very understanding and helpful. The disease controls me somewhat when I'm stiff and frozen. I can't do take a shower. I can't do common functions. So when I'm feeling good and upcycle as they call it, it might be 2 in the morning, but if I'm up, I take a shower. you know, so I do things. I don't let the clock rule my life. In that regard, the illness rules me.
What makes you happy in your life these days?
Good question. And a good upcycle when I'm active for 2-3 hours. You know, I'm 56, and right now I can't hardly, you know, thinking about 5 years from now, I can't hardly imagine. And that's one of the things that probably drives me nuts is I don't know what's going to happen 1 year or 2 years from now. You know, it's kind of funny, I get ads from people trying to sell me nursing home insurance, and quick way to get rid of it, telling me you have Parkinson's, they hang up on you. You know, who when they're 20 or 30, we all put away money for retirement, but you don't plan on going on disability when you're 50. My medication alone runs over $12,000 a year without insurance. So, you know, who's going to pay that? I can't pay $12,000 a year. And without the pills, you know, I feel like I need to write my congressman and ask, you know, you want me to go in a corner and die quietly?
What did he say to you about the disease?
He said, don't let the disease eat you. Which I think it's something that's probably done to him. The most positive thing about it is the sooner we say goodbye, the sooner we'll say hello. So, you know, seeing Co-America last night, it really was a nice park, but these new old parks are kind of beginning to run together in my mind. I'm sure there are differences, but there's a lot of similarities as well.
You know the song, right? You know the song is called "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Are you ready? Are you? Make some noise, Pittsburgh!
Carl's got this huge energy that I can really relate to.
And he did a wonderful job for us, telling our story to the crowd and encouraging them to contribute.
PNC is a hidden gem in the crowded landscape of new old ballparks. It just fits its city and its fans.
Was there any time that you felt that maybe baseball was a way that you could communicate with your dad, and it was maybe an inroad where if you had a tough time talking otherwise?
I didn't communicate very well even at a ball game with him. We disagreed on everything, but you know, I think he was right about a lot of things, you know. So that's how we are now. We disagree on everything too. He's 14. We can't agree on anything.
David, would you say you disagree with your father?
Yeah.
Well, now you just agreed on that.
I know, I don't.
David and David, and they are really nice guys.
We drove all day to get to Yankee Stadium through the rain. We get there, David and his two cousins. I'm a little tired. We get to the game, we get to the seats, and what'd you say?
These seats suck.
I almost drove him right back home. He says, these seats suck, and I almost threw him back in the car to go home.
A ball of energy, David Jr. is, and really funny. And David Sr. definitely loves it. At the same time, you can see he kind of tempers him a little bit. Now, did you play baseball when you were a kid?
Yeah, I played second base.
Second base. Were you any good?
No.
He wants to take this trip with David Jr. Now he's talking about, well, now David Jr. is getting busy.
We haven't come a lot this year because he started playing golf. I can't get him off the course, actually. And
I even played today in the rain. You gotta be kidding me!
You know, it's like me and Dad. I mean, we wanted this time earlier in 90 and 91. We were in college. Well, then after college, life got busy. And it took us 13 years to get back on track, but here we are doing it.
Just like my dad said, try to give it all you got.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't say that. He just said
that's what I meant, though. See, we're communicating.
And then he donated to us knowing we didn't have a room that night and just said, here, take this for a hotel. And he's just an angel. Like we've had so many angels come and approach us and tell us, or show us their love and how much they appreciate what we're doing. When people say they appreciate what we're doing and the cause we're doing it for, that's amazing to me.
The Kings Island campground in Cincinnati was a perfect reprieve from our rainout in Pittsburgh. Well, the campground, not the game. It was clean, alive with kids, and had the sound of roller coasters at the theme park next door. I got an idea.
What are we riding today, Maureen?
Well, today we'll be riding the Beast, which is the world's longest wooden roller coaster.
How you feeling? Fairly nervous.
It's been entertaining guests for more than 25 years.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that.
I hope it feels a little loose. I'm sure no one's ever fallen out. That was very good, Dad.
Yeah, that was good. I think I'm okay.
Is the inside corner? Yep.
Now, do you have a favorite ball player?
Yeah. Maha Tiji, I can't exactly pronounce his name. He's number 10 on the Baltimore Orioles.
Is that Miguel Tejada?
Yeah, him.
What's the best hit that you ever had, Brendan?
Off the wall of a home run fence.
Really? How far was that fence?
Say like 10 feet or so.
10 feet or so. Tell them why you like baseball. Is there any reason?
It's just fun to get out there and get dirty and stuff. Play ball!
Here we are, this is it, this is the Field of Dreams. We are in Dyersville, Iowa, and I hear the crack of the bat and I trust that I'm not about to be hit in the head. So I am completely overwhelmed. This, as I've said many times, is the inspiration for the trip. Come on in, Dad. This is the inspiration for the trip. This is the Field of Dreams.
They were looking all the way from Tennessee all the way up to Canada.
Wow, that's like hitting the lottery, isn't it?
Well, you know, I'm very honored to have it. It's just an honor to have my farm chosen to come out here and make a good movie.
So you still do farm, do you?
I rent the farm ground out and I just maintain the ball field here. It's getting to be about a full-time job.
I bet it is. It's a beautiful job you're doing too. I mean, it looks like the ballparks we've been visiting.
People just thank me for keep on keeping it because, you know, I didn't know people would come out here. I mean, after the movie was over, you know, I was going to keep it for 3-4 years, have a game of baseball, and tourists started coming. The first year I had about 7,000.
Oh boy.
It's grown all the way to 60,000 last year. It's just great, you know, once in a while coming out here talking to people like you, and everybody has their own little dreams. You hear all kinds of stories why people come out here. A lot of people, you know, come out here because they've seen the movie and sort of relate back to it, try to make their own little dreams come true.
Hi Peter, this is Robert Cochran from the Boys of Summer Group. Let's see, 10:45. We are on our way over to the game, and we're hoping still to speak with Bert Blyleven at some point. So I hope there will be an opportunity to do so. tired. Dog-ass tired. The coordination of the trip, day in and day out, was starting to get to me. Not having things set up as they were supposed to be was getting to me. Having to fight to explain what we were doing so we could get the things we needed was getting to me. 15 games in at the halfway point, our funds were stretched thin, and I was feeling it. I had told my dad that he wouldn't have to worry about anything, and I was trying to keep up that good face.
You guys doing a little tour, I understand. All 30 parks. Good. Now, how old are you? 60. Okay. Are you fighting Parkinson's?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. How's everything going for you?
Pretty good.
Good. My dad has had Parkinson's for about 20 years now.
How's he doing?
He's hanging in there. He's 79 years old, so he's fighting a little bit now.
It's been a hard day.
After the game, we went to Hubert's. We ate with several local Parkinsonians who we would meet again at the National Parkinson Foundation convention the following week. But there was one couple who wouldn't be there, and we were told we had to go meet them. Gary and Marianne Mortensen. I was tired, frustrated, and really not in any mood to change my schedule. They were going to be at least 2 to 3 hours out of our way, and I initially said no. But something told me to reconsider.
Well, there's this little store that sells odds and ends, and called Axeman, and I just go there and buy weird stuff.
Gary is an incredible craftsman, a creative wonder. He's been diagnosed with Parkinson for 10 years.
I love things that are unique. So it does the bottom numbers. It just goes back and forth.
Come out of Willy Wonka.
Pretty well thought out, huh? Yeah, I love that, the automatic mat.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. Because I need more and more light. I don't know if it's the Parkinson's.
I just love the idea of taking things that other people have thrown out and you make them into something fun, practical, and really beautiful.
Yeah, I do too.
So has this Parkinson stopped you from doing anything yet?
Well, I don't work anymore.
So when you retired because of it?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I was a municipal bond trader. My wife was diagnosed with cancer the same week I was diagnosed with.
Oh, really?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So it was kind of a difficult time. That's when I decided probably I could afford to retire, so I did. One common theme I've noticed among Parkinsonians is that they are very resolute. I'm not thinking about the future. Plus, I need to keep reminding myself of it.
I get like either down or hurt or angry on this trip from time to time for various things. Today was a hard day for me, but then we get reminders. Like Jack was a great reminder today. Like he would like to be doing something like this with his son, and we've gotten that from other people, other fathers and sons we've run into, and I got an email last night that just really. It really shook me up a little bit, but it reminded me when I was feeling kind of down and really tired. It was about 2 in the morning. And, I was like, God, I got to get up at 6 and we got to get to the game. Things aren't settled. And there's a friend of mine, Trevor, and he emailed me to say, hey, Bob, just want to tell you how happy I am for you that you're doing this trip. My dad passed about 3 weeks ago. And, it's really important and meaningful that you're doing this. And those reminders that, this is important not just for us, but for other people too, because they get, life force and energy and inspiration the same way we got all those things and the inspiration from what we've done. That we are passing on the inspiration. And, that's very meaningful.
It's little things, the little increments that change it. That, oh, that's right, you've got Parkinson's. Because you start to live with it and then you don't see it anymore. Like I remember the first time his head tilted. And I was, oh, yeah, that's Parkinson's.
This ballpark
ballpark you been to?
The one that stood right here. The old Comiskey. Yeah, we love the old Comiskey. My dad used to own a tavern and he used to get Sox tickets all the time, and he took me to my first game and I've been hooked ever since.
I was the son he never had, and well, he did end up having a son, but he used to drag me to games, and it just stuck.
Go Sox!
Put it on the board! Yeah.
Game time.
Best fireworks ever, you heard it here.
Oh, when the tribe goes marching in. Oh, when the tribe goes marching in. How I long to be in that number. When the tribe goes marching in.
This is Jonathan Johnson. Jonathan, tell us what you're selling right now.
I'm selling Wawa. Get your Wawa here.
Now, what else? What other items do you sell? Because that's your water call. What other calls do you have?
I got my peanuts and Cracker Jack.
How does peanuts go?
Get your peanuts and Cracker Jacks here.
That's good. And you ever get the beer? You ever get to do that?
No, I ain't sold beer.
Oh, okay.
It's another all-nighter as we're in the midst of a 5 games and 5 days stretch from Minnesota to Montreal. Ahead in Queens, a 3-hour nap on a hardwood floor awaited us before our afternoon game with the Mets. However, a late-night gas stop on our Odyssey netted us some strange baseball-loving sirens.
Now, you guys are baseball fans, all right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, favorite team. Let's go around the horn.
Sox.
Sox?
Yankees.
So this hasn't caused any fights in the car? I mean, have you charged each other?
2 Yankees, 2 Sox, and 1 Mets.
That's we're very interested in the series this weekend. That's why. So.
Now, as the Mets fan, how do you feel about the Yankees fans?
She's a Yankee. Well, here's I'm against them at home, but I obviously have to root for the New York team against the Red Sox.
So the Sox can go to hell as far as all you are concerned, except you.
Yes.
There was one thing that they could all agree on.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the ground. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
Mets are beautiful people.
Okay, what do we have here now? Where's the celebrity?
Hey, give it up to Mr. Met.
2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Well, this is a trip of a lifetime, and it's very exciting, and there's a new adventure every day. That's the happy part, and the sad part. The sad part is we're over the hump. We're more than halfway done, and it'll be the 20th of August before you know it. And so that's the sad part. The happy part is to be back home with Paula.
Does it almost seem like, I mean, in some way, do you feel the trip is a little timeless, though? I mean, do you get that feeling?
Oh yeah. When I'm not reflecting or looking forward, just staying in the moment, it very much seems that way, which is where I'm trying to stay.
Everything's in French and metrics in Quebec, meaning we drove 460 kilometers from Cooperstown to the Jeux, that's game to you Yankees. We hit the sign entering the parking garage because we didn't realize what the conversion of meters to feet was. Almost get arrested, can't find any other fans, let alone the entrance to Olympique.
Is there a ball game going on today?
Buy scalp tickets to a game with less than 7,000 in attendance. Enter just in time to watch the Expos drop 11 on the Mets in 2 innings. See some guy in a catsuit and his buddy in a 50-gallon, or pardon, 300-liter sombrero get run out of the stadium before we have a chance to ask them what the hell they're doing.
Like everything else, it's locked up.
I hug an orange thing named Youpie.
Well, this is wild. This is nuts.
The roof looks like the side of an enormous soccer ball, and Michelangelo has painted a foul pole stripe right next to it. 5 fans have painted their faces, which is 5 more than we've seen at all the games we've been to combined so far. And finally, the Mets run out of pitchers, forcing 39-year-old veteran infielder Todd Zeile to throw 1 inning, where he gave up 4 hits, 5 runs, all earned, walked 2, struck out none, and ended the night with an ERA of 45.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the most bizarre game we've seen on the road trip, Dad.
Without a doubt.
2, 3,
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I was taught as a little kid the Dodgers were the best team and the Yankees were the enemy. Never ever root for the Yankees. They were the other guys. They were from the Bronx. They were from Brooklyn. Pterodactyls still fly through the skies of the Bronx. And then there was the summer of '69, which was unbelievable. Or as we say back in the old neighborhood, unbelievable.
So Danny's challenged me here to a speed pitching contest. We're guaranteed to get over 25 miles an hour.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, didn't do it. Yeah, I think the ball was corked.
Yeah. How's your arm feeling?
It's definitely corked.
I can't complain. I mean, it doesn't do any good anyway. The only disability is a bad attitude. So, I mean, you get two choices. You can wake up in the morning pissed off at the world or say, I'm going to have fun and do the best I can.
Hoping that we find a cure. I mean, that's our ultimate goal, to put ourselves out of a job.
Do people act surprised when you tell them that you have Parkinson's?
Oh yeah, very. I've had it for 19 years. It wasn't until Michael J. Fox came out and said he had it, and they went, you are exactly the same age, maybe you have it too. It's frustrating. Sometimes it makes me feel old. You know, I don't want to feel old. I'm only 42. Not ready to feel old yet. What got me was that it's not just physical. The short-term memory loss, inability to, numbers don't work anymore. The checkbook, forget it. Don't do it. Not being able to find words.
You've heard of books for dummies, right?
Yeah.
Well, we've got an author here.
Oh.
This is Jack wrote this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There it is.
That's pretty good writing for a Parkinsonian.
It's unbelievable, this place. This is, again, just one of those places that is baseball. Everybody knows it, but you can't experience it until you get down here for yourself and just see Wrigley. It just is baseball, much in the same way Fenway is. It smells it, it looks it, it sounds it, everyone's going crazy. It's what it's all about. What do you say, Dad?
Wow, I say wow.
Wow, wow is right.
So simple.
Wrigley Field.
Jason was really old. We never got to get the games when he was younger because I had 4 kids.
My father and I have never had like this great father-son relationship. The relationship only started getting a little bit better when I moved to Los Angeles. The relationship would have been over if I had become a Dodgers fan.
You know, Jason gets really excited about baseball. He's the only kid I have that I can talk baseball to.
Sometimes I'll be on the phone with my dad and conversation will seem a little short, but you can always turn to sports. You can always turn to what the Cubs are doing.
Lately we've been lamenting the Cubs' position now. Instead of going for the division, they have to win a wild card spot in order to get into the playoffs.
I figure if I have a boy, the baby room will be the motif of the Chicago Cubs. And if it's a girl, it'll be Chicago Cubs.
I think the good part is just getting to relate to one another. And, you know, cheering for the same thing, you know, being on the same team. I think that's what's most important about going to the game with Jason.
What has Mom's reaction to your haircuts been in the past?
She's been mostly concerned when I get cut too short. It's thinning on top, you know. Well, it's not I got the length, it's the density that I'm worried about.
How's it going so far, Dad?
It's going real well.
Probably a bad time to be critical, huh?
We're doing okay.
Now, how's this up top? How's that looking to you?
Just remember, what happens to him happens to you.
Now, it's supposed to be the mother's side, which actually is even worse.
I have to say, my first impression of Miller Parkinson is just weird.
I like it.
Can't say that I'm shocked.
I know for a lot of fathers it's important to take their sons to the ballpark, but have you even had a chance on this whirlwind summer tour to take a minute and reflect and go, wow, what I'm doing with my son is about the coolest thing, and other fathers and sons may never have this opportunity?
There's a few few moments like that. You're right. It's pretty fast, and I wish we had more time. But this is all we've got for this trip.
Let's go! 9 games to go. That's it. We're westward bound as of today. Everything's west. That's pretty crazy to think of this trip nearly being over. Time just seems to last forever out here on the road. You just get out here and it becomes timeless. I'm excited for it to be over because I'm excited about the next things happening, but I'm also sad for this kind of excitement in every day to be out there and really, I mean, nothing's mundane about what we're doing. Every day is an adventure. We have to figure it out every day, and that's real hard sometimes, but it's very exciting too. And the people we're meeting, God, the people we're meeting, they're just fantastic. Anyone who ever believed that people aren't good-hearted and warm and open and at their core that they don't want to give, I think you've been asking the wrong questions. Because I think if you present people something positive, not profit-based, but it's love-based, it's integrity-based, it's society-based, community-based, I think people want to open their hearts, their loyalty, and yes, their wallets to that.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Anytime. Come back, see us again.
Because they want to support that. We're living proof of that.
Yeah, I think baseball still is a national pastime. My dad taught me a lot of things about the game, and very little of it has to do with the actual calling of a broadcast. You know, ball 1, strike 2. It's how to act. It's how to act as a person. It's how to treat people the right way. It's how to go through life being, you know, a semi-celebrity in his case, or a celebrity, a full-on celebrity, and treating everybody equally. He had a way of making light of the situation, a very serious situation, but doing it so that everybody was disarmed, the whole situation was disarmed, and you didn't even think about it. I mean, his line about, he met Muhammad Ali the other day, and they shook hands, and it took people 15 minutes to get him untangled. He was at an auction where he bought a $5,000 trip to the booth to meet him just because he couldn't keep his hand down. You know, I mean, he had such a great sense of humor that it made everybody smile about it.
Dad, what are your initial thoughts of the bush?
Hot.
Hot?
Damn hot.
It's nice to be with a lady. Ain't no good when you're in Busch Stadium.
It's a really nice facility. I mean, it doesn't look like a really old, ready-to-be replaced place.
Waking up in Kansas City after a good night of rest was exciting. The game wasn't until the evening, so we had some time to explore KC. Little did we know we were going to stumble upon one of the greatest and least talked about stories in baseball and American history.
I didn't know we were going there in the first place. I had no idea what it was about or what the Negro Leagues were about.
Here's a story that is born out of segregation that becomes the driving force for social change in this country. When they went down south, you had just as many white fans in the ballpark as you did black fans, and believe it or not, we sat together during that era of segregation when doing anything socially was virtually unheard of. Negro Leagues baseball brought both races together.
It was a wonderful story about how the Negro League impacted the American scene socially, and what changes were probably started primarily by Jackie Robinson coming into the mainstream.
But this is 1947. This is before Brown versus the Board of Education. This is before Rosa Parks' refusal to move to the back of the bus. Martin Luther King Jr. was a sophomore at Morehouse College when Robinson signs his contract at the end of the 45 season. President Truman doesn't integrate the military until a year later. So really, for all intents and purposes, Robinson, his breaking of the color barrier just changed things almost immediately.
They're not trying to say, hey, we're so wonderful. They're just saying, this is what we've done, and enjoy it as much as you wish to.
This story couldn't happen anywhere else but in America.
It's an old cliche about baseball's America's pastime, but there's been a lot of talk in the last 10, 15 years, you know, maybe it isn't anymore. Maybe the times have moved on and people want something different, something more interesting, something that moves faster. Maybe it's not the game that it once was. It doesn't hold America's heart the way it used to. And I think the advantage baseball has over other sports is its history. And that's why it's so important to embrace the Negro Leagues as part of that history.
You don't know baseball until you come here to learn this story.
You got to hear the whole story.
The whole story.
Meg Dugan and the Parkinson Foundation of the Heartland got us a hotel room, tickets to the game, threw a big tailgate party, and gave us the proceeds. Another angel gets her wings. With this money, and the group donation spearheaded by our dear friend Chuck Miller in San Diego, I realize I can finally relax. We're going to make it. Getting here last night was a trek, man. 600 miles after a reasonably long day, and getting about a 10:30 start at night out of Kansas City. And we got here, and thank God we had good friends to open their doors to us first thing in the morning, and open some beds so we could get a couple hours sleep before getting off to the Rockies game.
It is the trip of a lifetime. A son and his father, who has Parkinson's disease, are traveling to every professional baseball park in the country. Today, stop number 24, Coors Field.
I was so tired when I showed up. I was scared for a moment that I was almost going to do a pitch over the railing at one place because I felt my legs getting weak underneath me. Watching the Rockies manager embrace my dad, that was neat. There's a smile on my dad's face that he looks so relaxed. He looks like a little kid, and it makes me just so happy to be part of something that's helped bring that smile forth. Ladies and gentlemen, Dinger. Whoa, hello. That's the last time I said it was Linda Blair.
I'm really, really excited about getting home and seeing Paulette and being with her.
How do you feel today about having Parkinson versus when we started?
I guess I feel like it's less of a burden. It seems that I'm busy enough that I often don't think that I've got it, or I don't think about having it. It reminds me every now and then, but it certainly seems to be on my mind less. To feel rested. I've got a lot more confidence in my driving abilities in a circumstance like this than I do driving at night.
That would be irony.
That'd be perfect irony. I still have to watch out for eventualities.
It is 7 weeks to the day since we began this trip from this very spot right here in Las Vegas. And it'll be a warm place to come to because we have the lovely Anna Maria here waiting with lasagna in hand, I believe.
So good to be here at home.
My concern now, ironically, is whether or not Dad's going to be able to enjoy it because Mom appears to be maybe having some trouble again. Mom's gone through depression along with the breast cancer, and she's just gone through a ton of things, and I'm doing my best not to peek over her shoulder and say, Dad, are you okay? Right now, tonight, as a matter of fact, he's chosen to take some time to himself, and he's out about the town in Las Vegas. I hope he does what's best for him. You want to tell everybody about your night?
I turned out a little differently than I started.
That's when my dad would say, come on boy, let's play a little baseball. You grab the bat, I'll get my hat, we're gonna do it all. We'll be up against the best, and then we'll take on the rest. Let's see what we can get into before the sun goes down. I love LA! Your dad would say, if we're gonna play, you better pick one. So I'd pick a field, a park, or maybe even a great big stadium. Dodgers would do just fine, as would Shea or Anaheim, Yankee, Kaminsky, or the Parks at Arlington. Well, it was just me and Dad playing out on the front lawn. We were just happy for the chance to toss that middle ball around.
Very, very good.
Just by using our imaginations, we were standing in a big old stadium.
You like baseball more or less after this trip?
More.
Why?
I guess it's like artwork or fine wine or anything you know more about, you appreciate it more.
That's right.
Hoping for a safe trip home and that Paulette is feeling really good.
How you feeling?
Pretty excited to be home.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You can tell.
It looks pretty good to me.
Well, just describe your morning to me.
Well, it's, I guess it feels a bit out of control in the sense that Mom, Paulette, is not doing well. She's got a debilitating migraine headache and has had for some time. I don't know how long really, but off and on, certainly for over a week. To the extent that I'm not sure that she's going to be able, I don't know whether she'll be able to join us in Seattle or not.
Okay, the hard part is when things like this come down, Mom being sick, and knowing it was hard for her to let Dad go in the first place, and knowing how much it meant for Dad to be home after being away for almost 2 months, which is, you know, the longest he's ever been away, that I feel guilty sometimes, you know, thinking, is this some selfish thing that I'm doing? You know, and then, I mean, like, right to the game this morning where, you know, I just put it out there to Dad and say, you know, I mean, do you want to go? I mean, it almost seems silly. It's like going to a baseball game with Mom sick, with Papa sick, with this impending trip to Seattle. Are we going or are we not? And the family reunion tied in and all these other things. Like, do you want to go to a ball game? It almost feels like a ridiculous question. But Dad, you know, decided that, yeah, he would like to go, and I mean, I'm glad for it. We do the best we can.
Well, this is a very entertaining game. What do you think of it?
Well, this is the thing about baseball. It's a long season, 162 games. As bad as it is for one, we know it's only one. We got home from the A's game by 5 p.m. Mom decided not to come with us. We saved the biggest trip for last, 750 miles. We have to leave now because tomorrow's game in Seattle starts at 1:05 and we have a pregame tailgate party lined up at 11 a.m. There'll be lots of family and friend there. Meaning, if we drive straight through, encountering no difficulties, we'll get in about 5 in the morning and have 5 hours to sleep. If we have no difficulties.
Feeling good, Dad?
Really tired.
Yeah?
Good tired.
Just getting into Seattle, there was a point where Dad and I were hallucinating.
What were you seeing on the road last night?
Little green thing. Big purple thing. I actually saw the road kind of turn to jelly. It was purple, so it might have been grape.
And when we agreed that we were hallucinating the same items, that was time to pull over.
The lesson I've learned on this trip, the first one I learned is generosity.
Pyramid Brewery is just great. I can't say enough great things about Alex Corrales.
But I want to make things better too. If I can help out with some of the resources that I have, great.
Baseball is a bonding, and guys get it.
There's a communication, there's always something between fathers and sons, things that you have said or unsaid, but you can always go out, talk about how the M's are doing, communicating through throwing a baseball with your dad, and the idea that that's an interaction, a play back and forth, and something that you have a connection that you may not have otherwise had.
Seeing my dad receive the love that he does from his friends and family, that's probably my favorite part of this trip. Seeing a smile on his face. He gets this little boy smile on his face when he recognizes, I think, all the people that do love him. The family reunion on the lake. It's become a yearly occurrence, and the peace it offered couldn't have been better timed. Mom found the courage to fly up, allowing Dad to relax a little more.
It's about pulling the dam. Till we meet.
I'm going to do my best to treasure every minute that I get with my dad, because that's a big part of this. He's just such an easy friend, and I'm so glad to be able to say that at this point in my life, and I hope that this maybe could serve as an inspiration to those who maybe are having a tough time between father and son, to say, you know what, maybe there's a way to put a little effort into it, put a little something behind you, and discover a relationship that can heal you both and offer a better and happier life, because I know it has me. One last time. These miles from Seattle to San Francisco will put us over 20,000 for the trip. The road reaches out to us and says goodbye.
Mom, how you feeling about having Dad home?
Oh, I'm really happy about it.
That's a little girl, huh? Everybody's home. Yeah, everybody's home. Last game, Dado.
Number 3-0.
How you feeling?
Mixed emotions, I suppose. Bittersweet, I suppose. You gotta just kind of put your head down and go at times, and not think about how far you have to go. There were certainly times when I was fatigued. I think we were all fatigued. There was times that were stressful, and those are the difficult times. And those times were, it's hard to really. You might say, well, we're going to have them, but that's not the same as experiencing them.
Greatest thing you learned?
How tough I am.
And then comes the final out.
30 games, and and everyone's saying, hey, great, congratulations, and way to go, and how do you feel? And
it's kind of a flat feeling, kind of like, what's next?
hard work, man. Never done. Never done. The price you pay for going away for 2 months.
As I said, at times difficult, at times stressful, at times, most time, a lot of fun, but in all cases, a lot of energy. It'll be fun to reflect on it. I haven't had time to do that yet. Right now, I'm most excited about my shoulders feeling better. I miss golf. I haven't golfed for 2 months.
You nervous about picking up that golf club for the first time?
No. After driving through Pittsburgh and Manhattan, worst thing that happens, I just hit the ball sideways.
Oh, jeez.
I hadn't met that many Parkinsonians prior to the trip. There's a real range of experiences out there, drawn from their courage and their perseverance in the face of their shortcomings or their difficulties. It's good to stretch yourself. It's good to stretch myself. It certainly was a stretch. I'd like to spend a lot more time in Washington, D.C. I'd like to spend a little more time in New York. More time in Boston. I think more time in Pittsburgh even. Just more time.
And now that you're back here, what do you plan to do with your time?
Just lay on the couch. No, I don't know what I'm going to do. My biggest concern is getting Paulette healthy. I can probably provide an environment that might help get her healthy. Encourage her, support her. It's going to be, we're in this together.
Best baseball park, Deb. Still gotta be fun, buddy. Still gotta be fun.
30 parks, 64 days, and over 20,000 miles on the road. The best part of the whole trip? Well, it may have been simply playing catch. My dad is deteriorating, but as he reminds me, we're all dying. It's the price of living. Through all the ups and downs, the frustrations and joys, not a moment went by that either of us doubted we were completely alive. And that's pretty good.
Hey, Brother Will. Yo, Brother Bob, where you been?
Watching baseball games with my dad.
Seriously?
Yeah, man. All 30 parks in one summer.
Get out of here.
Man, I just got back.
Well, then tell me about it.
All right. I'm out on the road, driving with my dad. This may be the best time I've ever had. I'm out on the road, driving. It's tough sometimes getting up in the morning, feeling a little jagged. So I need a Cliff Bar to smooth me out. Fraction foods are dangerous, and if you've ever had a quarter bagel, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's why we shop at Whole Foods.
Thanks, Whole Foods.
High gas prices suck, but we've all got to pay them. Thankfully, we've got a friend in the wholesale business.
Thanks, Costco.
Some people talk to me and they say, hey, Bob, man, it's a silly dream. Why bother? There's too much work to do. You got responsibilities, you know what, and they're real important. Hey, let me ask you something. Who's fooling who? We're out on the road. My dad cracks a joke. I laugh so hard, I damn near choke. Something about a goat in a county fair. I don't know. Driving with my dad. Well, where's some of those places you went?
Well, let's see, we started off in Vegas, Phoenix, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, Memphis, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Miami, taking it south to Atlanta, Charlotte, D.C., Baltimore.
Oh, that's a lot.
No, I ain't done. Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Toronto,
Detroit, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Lovell, Dyersville, the Field of Dreams. Don't forget about St. Paul, Minneapolis.
Whoa, now that...
No, there's more. Look at Chicago, Cleveland, Queens, Cooperstown, Hall of Fame, Montreal, all the way back around to the Windy City one more time, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Kansas City, Mizzou.
Now that has to be it.
Nope. We had the Rocky Mountain, Denver, Vegas, San Diego, LA, Anaheim, all the way around to Oakland, Seattle, and San Francisco sure look fine. We did 2 months, 30 parks, and 20,000 miles.
So that's it?
Well, I wish there was more.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, man. Trip of a lifetime. But that's what it was like. Out on the road with my dad.